Hey there everyone, this is Victor with VictorVectorJKU, and today I'm going to be showing you how to replace the broken clips on your factory fender flares. Let's get into it. Alright, so I shot this video probably about a month and a half ago. Haven't gotten around to finishing it up yet, and I did not like the way the intro went, and obviously I've already done this, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do a quick recap with you guys. So if you have the factory fender flares and you've gone off-roading and you've really flexed out your suspension and you're running a larger tire than what your lift is really meant for, so for me, I'm running a 3.5 inch lift. I'm running 37 1250s, and recommended is 35s max. So my fender, or my wheels, when I fully articulate, will come up and contact those fender flares, and it causes them to get popped off. So in the process, I've broken off multiple of those clips, and you guys saw back in my bumper chop video that I had removed all my fender flares off the Jeep. So today what we're going to be doing is showing you guys how to go about replacing it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut over to the old clips that I'd taken, and we'll show you how to do it. Alright, so first thing I want to cover with you guys before we go into replacing the clips. So I'm going to put a link down in the video description below of where on Amazon I got this kit. So it comes with the new clips that attach the fender flare to the body. It comes with the plastic pop rivets that attach the inner liner to the outer fender flare. And also some push-in fir trees that are used to install the inner liner to the body. They also come with a little trim removal tool, which is actually very handy for getting all of these out. Alright, so we're going to start off with removing the inner fender liner fir trees first. So what we have is we have one right here, one right here, one right here, one right there, and then we have one up here and one up here. So I'm going to start off with getting those guys out. Alright guys, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go and pop out those fir trees. And I'm just going to be using my trim removal tool. So what you just do is you're just going to slide him in right underneath the head like that. And you can pry it out and it'll come right out.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
With those removed, all we have to do is basically now just pull the fender flare away. So now you can see my fender flare is already kind of dislocated because half my clips are kind of broken. You just go ahead and pop him away, and the entire inner and outer fender flare will come separated. Now, if we look to the inside edge of the fender flare, you can see that there's these slots here. So these guys, we still have the clips in there, but this one's missing its clip. We have a clip there, and we just continue on. So most of these are in good shape, but I am missing some, and I'm just going to go through and inspect them. Any of them that need to be replaced, I'll replace, and otherwise I'll just reinstall the fender flare. And there is potential for some of these to remain on the body when you pull them away. So all you have to do is get in here. You just want to be careful you don't scratch up the paint, but you can come in and pry these guys out in a way as well. Now these guys are a bit harder of plastic. They're not meant to go in and out so easily, so there's a chance you might break these in that process, and if you do, that's the reason why I have these extra ones now that I can replace them with. So in looking at all these clips, there's only two that I need to replace. They're both up here on the front side, so I'm just going to go ahead and snap in a couple new of these little clips. They're just going to slide right on. I'll go ahead and pull this guy back. So they just basically will just slip right into the slot there. It's easier to get one side installed first and then the other side will pop in. So just as simple as that. So that takes care of replacing all those clips. Now there is one other item I want to address, and that's these little pop rivets that connect the inner liner and the fender flare together. There is one that I am missing on the rear edge right back here, so I need to reconnect a new one in there. All right, so we're gonna be installing one of these little plastic rivets into this guy now. Now I don't have the correct tool to install this. I looked at my rivet gun, but it's not going to work with that. I was thinking maybe it would work, but it's really meant for steel rivets and it's not meant for this large of a shank. So what I'm going to do is I kind of have a makeshift tool set up here. So I'm going to use an adjustable crescent wrench, which is just basically set up to the diameter, a little bit larger than this diameter of the pull pin. And then I'm going to use a pair of vice grips to grab onto it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull, and it should be able to then close up like that, and it should grip on itself, and then hopefully it will break at the point that it should. So we're gonna give this a shot and see how it works. So we'll just insert this in to the two panels, make sure that they're kind of tightly pulled together. I'm gonna go ahead and clamp my vice grips on, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pull. And it's sucked it up now enough. I'm just going to continue pulling. And now just need this end to break. So I actually pulled through a little bit too far, so I pushed it back in just a little bit. Now I'm just going to sort of manipulate this guy around until he wants to break for me. Alright, there we go. I'm just going to make that guy flush there. Push him back in just a little bit. There we go. So it's not perfect, but it gets the job done. It'll do. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna wash the body behind the fender flare real quick, since it's a good time. Now, one thing to keep in mind is dirt and stuff's going to get back here no matter what. So I mean, there is chance for scratches and damage and everything. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. But next up, we're going to go ahead and reinstall the fender flare. So what we'll do is we'll sort of set it up over the tire like it was. We'll go ahead, put him back into place, align all of our pins, and then we'll just go around it and pop him right back into spot. All right. And the next thing, I just got to reinstall my 6 push fasteners. And just like that, my fender flare is nice and much more well attached than it was before. The inner and outer liner are sealed together again all the way through, and the fender is just in a lot better shape. So, all right. So the next thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and remove the front fender flare and inner fender liner. So there is a structural piece that gives a little bit more rigidity to this panel, and there are going to be 6 M10 bolts that have to be removed. So there's going to be one up in the front, one for a bracket underneath the fender flare here. There's going to be 2 more just inside of that on the inner fender structure. And then there's going to be one recessed up inside of the fender liner, and then there's going to be a bolt that hangs down the bottom here. So we're going to go ahead and remove those guys first. So I'm just using a 10mm socket on the end of my impact driver. Now, with those guys all removed, we can again do what we did on the rear, and we can just go ahead and pull it away. And in the process there, don't forget that you do also have your turn signal lamp in the fender. That guy also has to be disconnected. And there's a plug up here that we can undo it from. With that, the fender can then be removed. So you can see I lost some of the clips. They actually stayed behind. So what sometimes happens, and what's easier to do, is to end up sliding the clips out of the slots in the fender itself. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to do that. It just comes down to what you're dealing with. Alright, so with the fender liner and the fender removed, I'm going to go ahead and remove these clips. You can reach in behind and depress the clip sides, and you can see that this clip here was actually broken, so this one's going to be getting replaced. You can see how one of these guys actually broke off on me there, so that guy will be replaced. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and get the rest of these out. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 to replace on this one. So I have all the new clips on here that need to be replaced. We're using the existing ones that are still in good shape, but replacing the ones that need to be replaced. So that takes care of that. Next up, we're going to go ahead and reinstall the fender flare and the liner. So this bracket up here, we're going to go ahead and slip him in through this hole. So we're going to go first line that up. Then we're going to line up all of our clips. And we'll just go ahead and pop him back into place. Just like that. All right. Then we're going to go ahead and reconnect our electrical. And we can reinstall our 6 bolts. Just like that, we are nice and buttoned up again. All the clips are replaced and the fender flare is well attached. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up the video for today on how to replace the broken clips for your factory fender flares in the JK body style. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up and give this video a like. If you're enjoying the content I'm putting out there, please subscribe to the channel and share this video with anyone else out there that might be in need of some how-tos on replacing their broken fender clips. Otherwise, we are VictorVectorJKU, and we're taking on this build and the trails, both direction and magnitude. Alright guys, have a good one. Catch you next time.